Welcome to the AI-powered reader, your shortcut to unlocking the world's best books. Get ready to absorb key insights, understand core concepts, and expand your knowledge all in a fraction of the time. Let's dive in.
Greetings, and welcome to our deep dive into The Mixer by Michael Cox. This book chronicles the tactical evolution of the English Premier League, tracing its journey from the direct, physical Route 1 football of 1992 to the sophisticated continental styles that now dominate. Cox seeks to answer a fundamental question. How did English football transform itself from what the Sunday Times once called a slum sport played in slum stadiums into the multi-billion-pound global spectacle we know today? To guide us through this remarkable story is author Michael Cox, the founder of the influential tactical analysis website Zonal Marking and a respected writer for publications like The Guardian and ESPN. He provides a masterful account of the managers, players, and tactical innovations that redefine the modern game, and we're about to break it all down.
All right, let's get into it. Today, we're diving deep into Michael Cox's fantastic book, The Mixer. It's all about the 25-year tactical journey of the Premier League. I mean, how did English football go from this, kind of isolated tactical backwater to the most complex and exciting league on the planet? Well, that's the story we're going to unpack.
To really get how massive this transformation has been, you have to see where it started. And wow, this quote from 1985, it just paints such a bleak picture, doesn't it? English football back then was seen as insular, often violent, and honestly, not very clever tactically. It was a real low point. But, it also makes for the perfect starting line for a revolution.
So, let's talk about 1992. Everyone thinks of it as the year the Premier League was born, the big breakaway, the TV money. But Michael Cox makes a brilliant argument that the real start of modern football, the thing that changed everything, happened for a totally different reason.
Yeah, forget the flashy rebrand and the sky-high TV deals for a second. Michael Cox says this simple rule change was the single biggest catalyst for the game we watch today. Think about it. Before this, teams could waste just incredible amounts of time passing it back to the keeper, who'd just scoop it up. This one law killed that negative tactic overnight. And by doing that, it forced teams to actually play football on the floor.
And the ripple effect was just immediate. All of a sudden, those old-school hoof-it and hope defenders, they became a liability. You needed guys like Aston Villa's Paul McGrath, who was elegant and comfortable on the ball. And keepers like the great Peter Schmeichel had to totally reinvent themselves. They couldn't just be shot stoppers anymore. They had to become proactive players, almost like a sweeper and even a threat to start an attack.
So now the game itself is fundamentally different. The stage was set and it was primed for a huge influx of new ideas. And those ideas, they arrived in the boots of some foreign superstars who would completely change the DNA of English football.
And really, it all kicked off with one man, Eric Cantona. He wasn't just an amazing player, he was a revolutionary figure. He walks into a Manchester United side that hadn't won the league in a quarter of a century and turns them into an absolute dynasty. But it was more than just the trophies. His swagger, his technical genius, it showed the entire league that you could win games with flair and creativity, not just with brute force.
Cantona basically opened the floodgates. After him, this wave of ridiculously gifted number 10s came pouring in. We're talking about players like Zola, Bergkamp, Juninho. These guys proved that the old English way, just get it wide, lump it in the box, wasn't the only way to win. Suddenly, you could dominate and win a football match right through the heart of the pitch.
But the biggest foreign influence of all wasn't even a player. It was a manager. Arsene Wenger didn't just tweak Arsenal's tactics. He transformed their entire culture from the ground up. He brought in sports science, completely revolutionized their diets, no more full English breakfasts. And he put a stop to that infamous drinking culture. He professionalized the whole operation and turned his players into truly elite athletes.
Okay, so after a decade of all this attacking freedom and creative expression, the league's evolution took a pretty sharp turn. This next phase was a direct response. It was all about two master pragmatists who arrived from Europe, and they brought with them a whole new level of tactical sophistication and defensive grit.
2.45. What's this number all about? Well, it tells the story of the entire next era.
In the 2006-07 season, this was the average number of goals per game, the lowest in Premier League history. So, what on earth happened? The answer comes down to two managers, Jose Mourinho at Chelsea and Rafa Benitez at Liverpool. They made the league more cautious, way more organized, and just so much harder to score in. Mourinho especially brought this almost obsessive level of preparation. It wasn't just about how his team was going to play anymore, it was about systematically taking the opposition apart. He hired scouts whose only job was to create these thick, detailed dossiers on every team they faced, analyzing everything from set pieces to the habits of individual players. He was even giving his guys personalized video homework on their direct opponent. This was a completely different level of tactical warfare. But then, just when it looked like big money and meticulous defensive planning were the only ways to win, football did what it does best. It gave us a miracle. And Leicester City's title win in 2016 wasn't just a shocking upset, it was a full-blown tactical counter-revolution.
I mean, just look at these numbers, it's insane. Leicester basically defied everything the modern game stood for. They had one of the lowest wage bills in the league and were perfectly happy to let the other team have the ball. They won by being ruthlessly disciplined, defending incredibly deep, and then just hitting teams on the counterattack with blinding speed. It was amazing. They proved that great tactics could still beat big money.
And that pretty much brings us right up to the modern day. The Premier League now, it's not just a contest between clubs, it's a battleground for the world's greatest coaching philosophies.
So on one side of the battlefield, you've got the disciples of possession football, and nobody embodies this more than Pep Guardiola. His philosophy, often called tiki-taka, is all about total control of the game through technical mastery. You starve the opponent of the ball. It's basically death by 1,000 passes.
And then, on the other side, you have the masters of energy, like Jurgen Klopp. His whole philosophy is built around gegenpressing, which basically means winning the ball back the absolute instant you lose it. It's about creating chaos, disrupting the opponent with this relentless, organized pressure. It's really a fascinating battle of control versus chaos.
So there you have it. The journey is complete. The league has gone from that direct, physical, and kind of closed-off game of the early 90s, and it's evolved through foreign geniuses, tactical arms races, and incredible underdog stories to become what it is today, a true global melting pot of footballing ideas.
And this is really the question that the mixer leaves us with. In a league that is defined by constant, relentless change, where tactical geniuses are clashing every single weekend, you just have to wonder, what's coming next?
That's all for this episode of the AI-powered Reader. We hope today's summaries sparked new ideas and brought you valuable insights. If you enjoyed what you heard, please subscribe wherever you get your podcasts and consider leaving a review. It really helps others discover the show. Until next time, keep learning, keep growing, and keep reading, or rather listening.